Mesechas Ceirovin, Perik Zayin, Mishnah Beis. Says the Mishnah, Koseil shebein chatzeros, govoa asoro, v'rachav arba. If you've got a wall between two courtyards, the height of 10 tefachim, v'rachav arbo'o, and the width is 4 tefachim, then this constitutes a proper mechitzo between the two chatzeros. In truth, the rochav arbo'o, the wide 4 tefachim, is not necessary for this stage of the Mishnah. It's only taken because of the next part of the Mishnah. So what we're concerned here is that you've got a wall separating the two chatzeros without a breach in the wall, 10 tefachim high, so there's no pesach, there's no opening between the two chatzeros. Therefore, ma'arvin shnayim ve'ein ma'arvin echad. Each of the chatzeros would make their own independent eruv, and they haven't got the option of being ma'arvin echad to make a joint eruv, because to make a joint eruv, as has been explained, there must be access from one chotzer to the other chotzer. And here you've got a proper mechitza between the two, without a pesach, and therefore they must make their separate eruv. Hoyu baroshai perus, if on top of the wall there was fruit. Elu olin mikan ve'olin, members from either chotzer can go to the wall and go up and eat on top of the wall, eat their fruit. Ve'elu olin mikan, and on the other side of the chotzer can do exactly the same. Or bilvad shelo yoridu lemato, but they would not be allowed to take the fruit from the top of the roof into their chotzer. Here is dependent on a machlokas tanoim. The Mishnah seems to be saying we're talking about a case where the top of the wall is 4 tefachim wide, and here it's crucial it's 4 tefachim wide, in which case it is a reshus bifnei atzmai and has the status of a gag, a roof. There is an opinion in the Tanoim that you cannot, without an eruv, transfer from a gag, from a roof, to the chotzer. And therefore, that's why you can't take down the fruit from the roof into the chotzer. However, the halacha is, like Rabbi Shimon, and this is what we paskin, that anything left in the chotzer, there is no restriction of the eruv. You can take from the gag in chatzeros have the same status. It's only you can't take from the gag into the bayis. That would be forbidden, because the bayis and the chotzer and the gag were considered to be two reshois, and you need an eruv for that. But with regard to the gag and the chotzer, since they're not makomos of proper diro, we would say that anything left in the chotzer you could transfer from the chotzer to the gag. There would be no restriction whatsoever. Again, we should point out this halacha only applies if the width of the roof, the width of the wall, is in fact 4 tefachim. Then it's considered to be a proper reshus. However, if the width of the wall was less than 4 tefachim, then wide, it would be considered like a mokum patur. Being a mokum patur, there would be no restriction from taking the fruit into the chotzer, or for that matter, into the bayis. And that's why the kosel being 4 tefachim wide is crucial at this stage of the Mishnah. The Mishnah continues, Nifratz ha-kosel ad esa amos. You've got a wall which goes from separating one chotzer from the other chotzer, but there's a breach in the wall, and the breach of the wall can be up to esa amos. Then, if the breach of the wall is up to esa amos, a breach is considered like a pesach. We've learned that from the earlier parokim, and therefore ma'arvin shenayim, the imrotzu ma'arvin echad. Whereas before we have said that they must make a separate eruv because there's no means of access, here they've got the option. Either the mechitza is still there, so on one point of view they could argue that it's two separate chatzeros, so they have that option of making an eruv, a separate eruv, each one on their own chotzer. On the other hand, there is access because a breach up to 10 amos is considered to be a pesach, and therefore they could, if they so desired, make a joint eruv, one eruv for both chatzeros. Mipnei shehu kepesach. Yoser mikan. However, if the breach is more than 10 amas, then it's no longer considered to be a Pesach. Therefore, that invalidates the whole mechitzo. If there is no mechitzo, then they can no longer treat each other as separate chatzeros, and then they must make an eruv as one unit of one chotzer. So we've gone full circle here. In this particular case, since it's completely open, because the breach is more than 10 amas, therefore the mechitza is invalid. If the mechitza is invalid, they no longer have the option to make separate eruvin each chotzer, and they must make a joint eruv. And that's what the Mishnah says, me'arvin echod ve'ein me'arvin shnayim. They must make one eruv, and they cannot be me'arev as two separate chatzeros.